Hello everybody, today is Tuesday the 15th of January 2019. I'm Paula and I'm 1 week post-op from having my gastric bypass last week on the 8th of January. Lovely to be back on here to say hello to you all and to tell you a little bit about the past week. Hopefully the dogs are going to let me do that because this is the second video I've tried to do and they've decided that they want my attention, so we've had a bit of a play, so fingers crossed they'll all settle down and everything now. So what has happened this past week? So obviously my last video showed me after I'd had my gastroscopy, and it was the night before I was having my op, a little bit nervous understandably. And obviously right up until I had my surgery. Not only did I have my gastric bypass, but I also had a hernia repair as well. So obviously that was two sort of quite big operations all at the same time. So I think I was in theatre for about 4 hours in total. And at one point my husband did start to worry a little bit because I'd been gone, because I told him, I'd be only gone about a couple of hours in total. So, but yeah, all was fine, came through recovery okay, was looked after very well at all the staff at the Alexandra Hospital in Chiselhurst, which is Manchester in the UK. So yeah, they were all really lovely, looked after me the night after my surgery, helping me to get into my own bedclothes and, you know, giving me some nice iced water to drink. And yeah, so I had a really good restful first night. The second day, or the day after my op, I was a little bit daft really, and I think if any of you are going for surgery in the next sort of few weeks, hello Harry, let's just come down. In fact, talking of surgeries, Harry had his surgery as well last Tuesday, the same as mine, but his was a little bit more distressing for him. He was castrated, so obviously he's got this little cone around his head to stop him from licking his stitches, but he's having that off later on today. So and his stitches out, so he'll have a little bit more freedom. So we're just going to go down there we go, good boy. So yeah, anyone that's going to have the surgery in the next few weeks or couple of months, here's a few tips that I wish I'd done after I'd had my surgery, because I was so happy to be alive, because again that was a big fear that I was not going to come out of the surgery alive. I was just like texting everybody, I was posting on, you know, forums on my Instagram, I was talking to my own family, my husband was there, I was chatting to the nurses, and because I was doing all this, I wasn't drinking. And I wasn't really eating because I was a little bit scared about eating. I was worried it was going to get stuck, because they actually told me, because they did the hernia repair, I would have a little bit more swelling, so the food was actually sort of stick here a little bit longer before it went down compared to somebody who just had the bypass. So a little bit scared of that. But anyway, so I had bits and pieces. I think it was like porridge, and then they gave me some soup and things like that. So, and I was drinking my water and whatever. So yeah, so that night went to sleep, and then I woke up on the Thursday the 10th, in the early hours of the morning, probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and felt absolutely awful. Felt really sick, felt really dizzy. I was crying. At first I thought it was because I was just feeling sorry for myself because of everything that had been going on. But the nurses were absolutely lovely. All that gas and wind pain, obviously from having the procedure, was starting to build up. So my stomach felt, honestly, I literally felt like I was 9 months pregnant. So yeah, that was really, really uncomfortable. So I was actually meant to come home on the 10th of January, but as the day went on, I barely could keep my eyes open. All I could do was sleep. And so in the end, my husband said, "You're not coming home. We're going to stay here. I'm going to shut all the curtains, turn the lights off. We're going to turn all phones off, and you're not going to talk to anybody." And you know what? That was the best thing for me, that he took control there. and I just slept and slept and slept and drank as much as I possibly could, constantly, sort of sipping away and starting to eating, because obviously what had happened with being on that liver reducing diet for a week, then fasting for the operation, my blood sugars had just fallen through the roof. I was dehydrated, all my lips were sort of chapped and everything, and I just felt so thirsty. And chatting to one of the nurses who just said I'd obviously just got behind on my drinking and not to worry, so they started to bring me lots of peppermint tea, and I started to eat my food and everything. So by the 11th, which was the Friday, I felt so much better. Oh my goodness, I almost felt like the normal me, whatever normal is. But no, started getting back to how I was feeling before I actually had the op. So I got up, I had a shower, I got my bag packed, told my husband to come and collect me, and told, the nurses that I was ready to go home. So they got all my bag packed with all my notes and all my medication that I was going to bring home, which they gave me 3 months worth of Forceville, which is the multivitamins that we take, which they've given me is soluble. They also gave me some liquid paracetamol and some vitamin D to chew, and some Senocot, which is a laxative, and and obviously all the injections to help with the blood thinning for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a big bag of medication to leave the hospital with. But as soon as I was in that car, I was just glad to get home. My husband actually, because I'd heard it as a tip from somebody else, brought me a cushion, which really helped with the journey home, because the journey home was about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and it was okay, we were on the motorway because the roads are nice and flat, but obviously on the sort of household roads, or the little roads, there's lots of bumps and holes and potholes and everything. So the cushion came in really handy for that little part of the journey. And then it was so lovely to get home and see my 2 dogs and to see my son, and just get home and be in my own space. And so we just chilled on the Friday night and all over the weekend. And then Monday really felt probably the best that I'd ever felt. And actually, there's a lady on here who has been sending me lots of lovely messages, and I hope I haven't got your name right because I can't remember. Sorry, I hope I haven't got your name wrong because I can't remember, but I think it's like Bypass 56 or something like that. You'll know who you are when you're watching this anyway. So, and she sent me a lovely message and said, you'll get over the pain, but by 1 week post-op you will feel great. And to be honest, I hung on to that and kept saying to myself, I'm going to feel great by week 1, I'm going to feel great by week 1. And to be fair, yesterday I really did feel really good. To the point I was thinking, should we go out for a walk? Should we do this? But I did some light housework and that was fine. I did, started to make tea for everybody. So yes, it was all good. And then today, which is obviously my official 1 week post-op, I went to see my GP, my doctor, and she has had gastric bypass. Honestly, this gastric bypass has just numbed my brain. And sometimes I just lose a train of thought halfway or say things wrong, so you'll have to bear with me. But anyway, she's had a gastric bypass as well, so that has made life so much easier because she really understands where I'm coming from. I had no issue with her setting up all my repeat prescriptions for my medication, which I feel very lucky to have, because I know there have been some people in the UK who have struggled to get their GPs to give them their prescriptions or to even understand what they've actually been through. So I know I'm very lucky. So we had a really good chat for about 20 minutes, which is unheard of with a UK GP, and gave me lots of little tips and tricks and things like that. So yeah, so that was really good. So, and that's all I've done so far. And talk to yourself really. So just wanted to check in. So I thought what I'd do is I'd give you an idea of what my weight loss has been so far. So I think I updated you last week that on my op day I was 296.8 pounds, 21 stone 2, which is 134.6 kilograms, and today, 1 week post-op, I am 281.5 pounds and 20 stone 11.8 and 132.4 kilograms. So I've lost basically in total 10 kilograms since I started the whole process back in November. So really pleased with that. Obviously I've still got a bit of bloating. I'm also aware that I don't want to get too fixated on standing on the scales, not sitting on the scale, standing on the scales. So I'm going to try and do it once a week, if I can hold myself, sort of the anticipation. But no, because I think it would be nice to have a lovely surprise. And then at least if there are points in the coming week where I stall or even put on a couple of pounds, because it's that time of the month soon for me, so which I generally tend to put quite a bit of weight on. So I think it'd be better to do it next week, and then I don't get stressed with the whole up and down of it all. So yeah, that's it really. Food's going down really well. I made lots of nice purees. I had my soups for my first couple of days, and again, that's a really good tip if you're having surgery. Try and get some soups made up, so at least when you come home, for those first couple of days, you're not having to panic about what you're going to eat. So I had my soups, and then on Sunday I made a nice ragu and blended that and topped it with some sweet potato and butternut squash, which is really nice. And then yesterday I had salmon with sweet potato and butternut squash and mixed that up with a little bit of cheese sauce, which was really nice. And I had that again for my lunch today. So what I'm trying to do is trying to make some really flavoursome sort of purees and blended food, so that at least with the tiny amount that I'm eating, I'm actually really enjoying. I'm normally having porridge for my breakfast, obviously like really thin porridge. And I know some of you, because especially some of the lovely ladies that I'm following that live in the United States, they've been on clear fluid or fluid for like 2 weeks before they've been allowed to go on to purees. And it just depends on what your surgeon is. And even in the UK, different surgeons have different, ways of how you should eat after your surgery. And the way that my surgeon has basically said, it's purees for the first 4 weeks, although I think because I've had my hernia, they would like me to do 6 weeks if I can, get there. And then 6 to 8 weeks, well, for me it'd be 6 to 10 weeks, it's then soft foods, and then from 10 weeks onwards I can then just eat normally and start to introduce different types of food back into my diet. So yeah, so it's a long old stretch, and I'm sure there's going to be times where I'm just sick of the sight of a puree, or what I'm trying to say to myself is, 10 to 12 weeks out of this whole journey is such a short time, and just to keep going with it. And that's why I'm trying to make lots of very different types of purees and sort of batch cup a couple of days ahead. So again, I've not got that panic of, oh gosh, what am I going to eat? So yeah, anyway, I think I've prattled on for long enough now. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And I may pop on before next Tuesday if anything significant happens. But otherwise, hope your journey's going all well and you're all doing okay with everything in your lives at the moment. So see you all next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.